Welcome, everyone. Welcome to another edition of Remixing Politics and Culture with me, your host, Pam. I am a public relations and marketing professional who happens to have a passion for social justice, voter advocacy, and culture. And tonight we have a whole bunch of things to talk about because there's just so much going on, right? So, we're going to talk about everything tonight in a town hall forum from McConnell, Mitch, Mitch McConnell, Lindsey Graham, Mayor Mandami, the tragic loss of the 18-year-old Nolan Wells. And we're going to talk about politics in general. We'll get into a whole bunch of things. So we just want you guys to participate with us because this is an open and free-forming discussion. All right. So let me introduce my panelists for this evening. I have first up, I have Gary Carter Green. He is an Emmy-winning television producer. He has a political platform of his own at youcan'tbeatblue.com that supports Democrats running for office across the country. And Gary also is a very accomplished artist. You've got to see his artwork. You got to see his artwork. It's phenomenal. Welcome back to the show, Gary, and he resides in beautiful Oregon.
Correct. Thank you, Pam. That was such a sweet thing to say. Let me return the compliment. I love your new title sequence. I'd not seen that before. It is slick. It's polished. I played right before we start. It looked really good.
Yes. Okay. All right. And next up, we have Renee Shaw. Renee is a political activist and strategist and a former political candidate in the big old state of Texas. She is a doula. She specializes in maternal care of marginalized women. Renee is also a mom of 7-year-old triplets. And how many grown children do you have, Renee?
I have 4 grown children.
And 4 grown children.
8-year-old triplets now.
The 8-year-old triplets. Girl, I can't keep the ages straight.
I know.
And she resides in New York with her triplets, okay? Welcome back to the show, Renee.
Hey, thank you, Pam, for having me. Hello, everyone. Hi, Gary.
Yes.
Hello, Gwen.
Okay, and next up, I have Jeff Wimbush. Jeff is an award-winning writer, reporter, and essayist who has worked and contributed to numerous mainstream, alternative, and Black media platforms. Jeff resides in the Midwestern state of Ohio. Welcome back to the show, Jeff.
Thank you so much, Pam, and thank you to the rest of the panelists, Gary, Gwen, triplets, and I respect you, sister.
All right. And next up, I have... Okay, here he is. There he is. And next up, I have Les Blackburn. Les is a native of Detroit, Michigan, my hometown. He's a retired firefighter of Detroit and is currently a contractor doing numerous home improvement projects. Les is a proud graduate of North Carolina A&T University. He has to put that in there because he likes North Carolina, I think. Welcome back.
All right.
Welcome back to the show, Les.
Thanks. Glad to be here. You know, it seems so funny because when you contacted me yesterday, I had just been thinking about you earlier in the day. And going to reach out to you, but great minds think alike, I guess.
That's right. That's right.
I wouldn't believe that.
Okay. And last but certainly not least, we have Latrice Davis. Latrice is a virtual regular here on the show. Latrice is a former editor with the Associated Press. She is currently an associate court clerk for the New York County Family Court and a very active member of the Queens Community Board 6. Latrice resides in New York. Welcome, everybody.
Glad to be here. Thank you for having me. Good evening, everyone.
Okay. Oh, David. Oh, hey, David. Okay. All right, guys. So first up, we're going to talk about our friend McConnell. First up, first, it's got to be McConnell, okay? Because we saw McConnell in one state. Hello, Deborah Carter. We saw McConnell in one state. I'm going to play that video for you. And then we saw something else within an hour or so ago before this show started. So let's get into that. Okay. Oh, that's the wrong one. Okay, I'm going to share my screen. And okay. All right. Can you see it?
Yes.
Okay.
Disney Plus, Hulu, and
Oh, God.
the best in entertainment.
Okay.
You're stuck with an awful boss, just like I was.
You are the queen of trap. You have a flaw within your grasp.
Now notice how slow they're working. You see his foot there. Okay. All right. Let's stop sharing. Okay. All right, guys. So that was just a brief snippet of him being loaded onto the ambulance stretcher. Now, any of you know, we all have seen McConnell in his very frail health condition. He's what, 84 years old. We've seen him fall a number of times. We've seen him freeze up while talking. We've seen all of that. And yet we're supposed to believe that after they get a call to his home of an unconscious person, 84 years old and frail health, that after doing CPR, if he were still really viable, normally you would be rushing to get out of there. Am I right? Or help me out. Jeff, would you be rushing to get out of there? Or would you be taking your time?
Normally, if I've had 911 calls placed and had the paramedics come to my home for an incident or something. And I know I want them to get there in a hurry and prioritize my health and get me to a hospital if I need to go there. That I don't see any sense of urgency in that video.
Right.
Now, there are various reasons for that. Maybe it wasn't that serious. Maybe it got worse when he got to the hospital. We don't know. We're trying to put a puzzle piece together and we don't have all the pieces and we're doing it in the dark. But that said, I'm going to give some props to Mitch McConnell. I think Mitch McConnell is maybe the second most powerful Senate Majority Leader in my lifetime. The first one being Lyndon Baines Johnson before he became president of the United States. But the problem with Mitch McConnell being so powerful is that most of the things he's done have been bad for this country, bad for Black people specifically. I believe he's a racist. I believe he defers to power. And I also believe that he's closer to death than he is to life. And I know there are political considerations at play as to why his condition is so mysterious. We're getting statements, we're getting people talking about him, these 20-minute chats that seem so weird, that it all tends to believe that from the left or the right and in the middle, something does not pass the smell test. Is Mitch McConnell dead or alive? I can't say. But I know this. I do know for certainty we are not getting the full story about what's happening with him in this point in time.
Yeah, absolutely. Gary, I see you. I see you want to say something. Go ahead.
Noticed one of your commenters mentioned that McConnell released a picture of himself and his wife.
We're going to show that next. Yeah.
But I think I believe that in the statement he's saying he's already out of the hospital and he's in rehab. And of course, anytime they try to convince us that somebody in the hospital is totally fine, they really go overboard with look how happy he is, look how rosy his cheeks are, look at the lighting, and none of that happy, rosy cheeks smiling. None of that's going to work on Mitch McConnell. And it looks like the fakest thing you've ever seen in your life. Because when have you ever seen Mitch McConnell smiling and looking happy and content? He's like a Stepford senator in this picture. It looks like, I mean, it's going to convince more people that he's not all right than it's going to convince people that he's doing well. So I'm with Jeff. There's certainly more going on here. And I would be surprised if Mitch McConnell makes it through the end of his term in November.
Yeah.
If I may say, I think Mitch McConnell is close. If he's not dead, he's closer to death than he is to life. And with the death of Lindsey Graham, that's putting the Republicans 2 senators down, and they can't afford to lose anymore. But the good thing, well, not good thing, but the one thing about it, Kentucky has a Democratic governor. And if Mitch McConnell, if and when he does make his transition, it's incumbent upon the governor to appoint someone to fill out his term. And with the governor being a Democrat, I think he would appoint a Democrat.
Yeah.
Pam, you know I have a lot to say about that.
I know you do. I'm waiting on you. Go ahead, Renee.
So first of all, as my firefighter friends who do rescues in New York City and who answer 911 calls, they tell me if you get a call from somebody that's unresponsive, unless there's somebody in that house at that time that knows CPR who can sustain them by the time they get there, more than likely they're not going to make it. There was no urgency, as you said, when they were taking him into the ambulance. So I got a lot of doubts, and I'm not feeling the whole, you've been in a hospital for almost a month now. I think it's going on a month in a couple of days. Yeah. You've been there in a month and nobody has said that you were in rehab until today. And so what are we doing here? I don't think Mitch made it. He may be on life support, but I don't think he made it. I think he's the best I can give is he's probably on life support. But then again, like everyone says, we don't know for sure. I can just go on what people who do this kind of work have told me. More than likely, he probably didn't survive it, or he's unconscious and there was no urgency there. But that's how I feel about that. I'll talk about the other piece with the photo thing later.
Latrice, did you have something to say before I put up the photo?
Sure. Just real quick. I think the fact that there's more questions than answers when it comes to the ongoing health of elected officials. It's just yet another red flag in our democracy. In New Jersey, Congressman Tom Keene Jr. was away for 4 months with no real explanation. He just returned, and he's going to run for re-election later on this summer. He's up for re-election this year. He's going to run. And yet, okay, so where were you for the past 3-4 months? It's like we haven't really gotten an answer. No, legacy media dropped the ball in pressing for an answer, because if nothing else, I think his constituents should know. Not necessarily myself or anyone else sitting on this panel here tonight, but at the very least, Tom Keene Jr.'s constituents deserve to know why he was not working for the last 3 to 4 months. And you're seeing this play out now with McConnell. As far as Lindsey Graham, again, his passing raises questions, like the fact that it happened so suddenly. But I do want to say real quick, in regards to Graham, this is why you should care about your legacy. The fact that most people do not have anything kind to say about him, especially as
we're going to get into that. Especially
as he transitioned or morphed from a moderate to basically a sellout, to put it kindly. I think this is why you should care about your legacy. And I think this is what happens when elected officials stay in office for too long. They get so intoxicated with power, they don't know how to let go. They don't take proteges under their wings to train them for when that day comes, because they're not going to be in office forever.
Right.
But that's pretty much my thoughts on that subject.
Right.
Cameron, if I can add just real quick, I want to follow up on something Les said. I just want to make clear that the governor of Kentucky is a Democrat, Andy Beshear. but the state legislature is Republican, and they passed a law a few years ago that took the choice away from the governor to appoint the replacement for McConnell. If McConnell were to step aside or to die while in office, and it's declared that he's dead, the Republicans would submit to the governor their choice of three candidates, all Republicans you could respect, all moderates you could respect, to replace him, and then there would have to be a sort of a runoff or a special election to replace him. There is a variable though that if he is not declared dead before, I believe, August the 3rd or 5th,
August 3rd, yeah,
the seat would remain empty until such time as the general election appoints McConnell's successor. There is a brother named Charles Booker who is running as Democrat to replace McConnell, but there's a better funded Republican who has millions in the bank opposed to Booker's thousands, who is probably more likely. This seat is probably more likely than not to stay a Republican seat, no matter what happens to McConnell. But there are reasons why the Republicans and McConnell's crew are not declaring he is dead or brain dead, or he will not be able to return to Congress.
Wow, it's a mess. I'm going to show that picture that the legacy media is showing, and as we all know, AI is pretty incredible, guys. That's all I'm going to say, and we're going to discuss it. We're going to look at it and see what we think. Okay. All right. You see it? He's got a button up. He's sitting up nice and neat. I want to know when his wife got back from China, though. That's what's really interesting. And he's
in a hospital gown.
He's got on jeans and everything.
I see that, but why isn't he in a hospital gown?
He's not in a hospital gown. Where is his right hand? What's his right hand doing? It's down the rail.
It's right there. There's his hand.
Nothing about this picture looks real to me.
Yeah, it's rare that the only time I remember seeing Mitch McConnell smiling is when they were asking him about taking away Obama's choice for what's our boy's name?
To replace Scalia.
No, for Supreme Court took away.
To replace Scalia when Scalia died.
Merrick Garland.
Merrick Garland. I remember him chuckling then. That's the last time I really remember him smiling. It was always over something that he's done. But
I saw him smiling when he was reading a book about Kristi Noem shooting her dog. That gave him a big smile. You should have seen that.
I got four words for that. Public enemy. Don't believe the hype.
Yeah, he's got a little newspaper there. His wife.
The newspaper is supposed to be a sign of that it's from today, right? Like that's what they do with hostages, right? They make them hold up a paper to prove they're still alive. This is what maybe they're forcing him to stay alive. Maybe like his body is ready to go, and the Republicans are just like pumping him full of drugs and stuff to keep him alive and awake, so they can just prop him up.
Well, first of all, can anyone see the date on that? I mean,
I can't. I can't
see the date. And who holds a newspaper like that? I'm just saying.
Well, it's just laying on the railing, and his hand is just. I don't know. This might be all AI, guys.
It is AI.
We've all seen those type of chairs in a hospital.
Yes.
You put the patient in where he sits, but does his back like he's leaning back against the pillows? Does her right hand like it's going any place? Does that hand on the paper? Nothing about this looks real, especially Mitch McConnell's expression.
Yeah, and where is the rest of her hand actually? Why would she have it directly behind his arm?
That was another thing that caught my eye. Look
at her left hand. Where's her left hand?
It's weird, like in there in the cut, like sort of. It should be
on the edge of it should be on the edge of this chair.
Plus, it looks like it's truncated. It doesn't look as, you know what I mean?
But that goes back to my question about his outfit. Like, okay, I see he's dressed in regular clothes. Why isn't he in a hospital gown? That was my immediate thought.
I don't think they're going to let him pose. I don't think they're going to let him pose in a hospital gown. That just makes him look more infirm.
Right.
And I think if he is alive, they're trying to make him look as robust and healthy as they possibly can.
Yeah.
I think that what's going on with the way he's dressed and so forth is trying to create illusion that he's probably better off than he is. Remember, we don't know, can he communicate? Can he speak? Does he understand what he's being told is happening right now? Does he have any idea what's going on? He could be severely impaired, and this picture would never tell us that.
No, this picture looks like he's ready. He's been reading the paper, and his wife's been combing his hair and all that stuff.
He's about to be discharged. He's got a picture of somebody about to be discharged. He's waiting for the wheelchair to wheel him out so he can go home.
Let me tell you,
nothing about this is real. Don't believe me.
The biggest problem with the real problem with all of this is the fact that we don't know. That's the problem. That they've left people out there speculating, and yes, it affects Kentucky more than it does immediately more than it does some of us, but he has made some horrible decisions, and so we still have to deal with whatever vote he's going to take. I'm not liking it. It's sus.
If I can add real quick, you got to remember, when it comes to Republicans who are opposed to passing Trump's SAVE Act, which is basically save the Republicans and save Donald Trump from being impeached the third time, McConnell was one of the 4 Republicans who voted to not pass the SAVE Act. With him gone, you would think that would mean the Republicans have a better chance to maybe try to ram the SAVE Act again. But that got to be counteracted by the fact that now Lindsey Graham is gone. So those 2 votes now cancel each other out. So we're even further away from Trump passing his Save the Republican Majority Act.
Yeah, and I think that Jeff makes another really good point, which is we're talking about Mitch McConnell as if his seat's going to be up for grabs whether he's dead or alive, and it's not. But there's a different story with Lindsey Graham's seat. There's the possibility. There's a Democrat there. She's likable. She's not crazy. And I don't think that the Republicans, to switch away to Graham for a moment, I know you're going to get there. I don't think that Republicans were prepared for Lindsey Graham to die. I don't know that they have a viable candidate. Have they vetted him? Who or what are they going to try to throw into that seat? And and then what horrible secrets are we going to find out once they're in there? I mean, the Republicans will put themselves in.
Just how the Democrats. Well, I'm sure Pam is going to get to this, but just how the Democrats have kind of maybe their chances of beating Susan Collins are lessened by, Graham Plattner flaming out, and he deserved to. The Republicans' chance of holding on to their majority has also been lessened by the fact that Lindsey Graham now no longer being a part of the mix.
I think if Lindsey Graham had stayed alive, that seat would have been his for sure. But we do not know what kind of monstrosity they're going to try to push through. And, it's possible that this Democrat, if she catches a wave, I mean, she has an opportunity right now. People should check her out. Dr. Annie Andrews. She's a pediatrician. She's a professor.
Fabulous.
She's smart. And this is an opportunity for her to really grab the spotlight a little bit and say, hey, I'm still in this race. And if you are concerned about affordability and you're concerned about keeping this tyrant in office with his hands tied behind his back, you might want to take a look at me. If she catches a wave, she could be the next senator there. I don't know what the infrastructure is for Democrats in South Carolina, or even if they have one. I guess we're about to find out.
Okay, guys, don't give up on Kentucky yet. There is a gentleman named Charles Booker.
Oh, he's great.
Who's doing really well. We don't know that he can't win. That's the problem with Dems. We don't play in places that we think we can't win. We don't know until we try. Try it. If you don't win, you don't win. No harm, no foul, but you got to fight for the seat.
Well, he's trying. I just think we have a better shot of flipping the seat in South Carolina. And if it comes down to questions of resources and who's going to get funded and who's not going to get funded, I say get behind the person who's going to be opposing whatever Republican is going to be coming into Lindsey Graham's seat. A lot of people aren't going to know him. Graham has decades of A-list fame from there. But whoever they put in there, it could be what was the guy who had the head injuries from Georgia, and he was saying Herschel Walker. I mean, they could put a Herschel Walker kind of guy in there.
Oh God!
And the same thing with Kentucky. That's what I'm saying. We don't know.
I don't think that. Well, I'm just saying they're going to put a staunch Republican in. I guess what I'm coming down to is I think Kentucky is more red than South Carolina is, but I could be wrong.
Well, here's the thing, though. I'm follow up real quick on Gwen, because there are actually not just one, but two Black men running for Senate in Mississippi against Cindy Hyde-Smith, a vulnerable Republican. There's a brother named Scott Collin, who's an endorsed Democrat, and another one I mean name is Troy Pinkins, who's an independent. He may draw votes away from Collin and hand it over to Smith, but Smith is a vulnerable Democrat, Republican, and George Soros's organization is already putting money behind Scott Collin. If there is truly a blue wave coming in November, it has to also include the South. It can't just be Maine. It just can't be Ohio. It has to be a pickup in some place like Kentucky, Mississippi, other places that we are not paying attention to because we're focused on Graham Plattner's Nazi tattoos or something like that.
Yeah, and you know, and that whole thing about Graham Plattner, that's a whole nother subject about how the Democrats just really, they just irritate me.
Well, I want to speak to that point real quick.
Please do.
And I'm just speaking for myself. The only person to blame for where Graham Plattner finds himself right now is Graham Plattner. As I had said on the Facebook page early last week, for all of my shortcomings, lack of self-awareness isn't one of them. and my issue with Plattner wasn't the sexual assault allegations. It wasn't even the Nazi tattoo. My issue was more basic. Where was his resume? He had no experience whatsoever to speak of. He was just someone who said all the things that people wanted to hear. And the thing is, the crazy thing is, being a New Yorker, Schumer's name gets thrown out a lot, and he's not without his shortcomings. But people trying to blame Schumer for that, and it's like, no, that's not on Schumer, because he was pushing Governor Janet Mills, whose campaign never took off. But to say that it's Schumer's fault that Plattner got as far as he did is like, no, I'm calling BS on that right now. And I have plenty of thoughts on that, but like you said, that's another conversation for another day. But Graham Plattner only has himself to blame, because he should have had enough sense to say, you know what, in this day and age, with all the skeletons I have in my closet and the lack of qualifications, no, I'm not going to put myself nor my family through this.
But the problem is when you come from money the way he does, okay, I didn't realize all of his background of all of his wealth and the mama buying up all of his seafood and all that stuff, you know. I mean, the dude, you know, he's got this great narrative, but he's got money that backs him up, that lifts him up.
Okay, you know, but where's the resume? Yeah, and again, like, not to cut you off, but like the screenshots I posted, because you mentioned you were going to talk about Mandami. At least Mandami had a resume. It was thin. It was way for thin, but at least he had one.
Mandami, well, we don't talk about Mandami because listen, it's so much to talk about.
Yeah, it's a lot to talk about, but my point being, Plattner had no experience whatsoever. Not city counting. I can be at least, okay, myself, at least I can say I've served on a community board for 5 years. I have a basic idea of how government works and all the minutia that's involved. Plattner can't even say that. So it was almost like, again, like, people just certain people anyway, they just do caution to the wind because he's a white guy who said all the things they wanted to hear. And listen, I get it. They don't like Susan Collins. They want her gone. But the whole vote blue, no matter who, is one of the many reasons why the Democratic Party is in shambles. Yeah. Because it does matter.
It does matter. We can't afford to do the no matter who thing.
Hey, Pam, I want to piggyback off something that Jeff said. Jeff is absolutely right. Do not sleep on Mississippi, guys.
Yes.
Do not sleep on Mississippi. People have been paying attention to it because the DNC won't put money in there. The DCCC won't put money in there. They go where they think, quote, electable people are. I'm saying that word, electability.
And white people are.
Yeah. All of the things. Yeah. Oh, Zach says there's a guy named Trump that had no experience either.
That's it. I'm from New York. That's another conversation for another day. But you're not wrong, Zachary. You're not wrong.
Yeah. And somebody says there's an interview with people that found him and vetted him. Yes, there was this one young man that vetted him, and he just fell all out for him and sold them on the Democrats, and that's how it went. I heard it was real quick and fast. I forgot the name of the organization, but Plantner was a plant. Brianna Joy Gray has been dismantling the fake progressives. But
that's the thing. Like, again, the far left, and as in the screenshots, I identify myself as left of center, but not far left, and it's for these reasons. It's like, again, just like with journalism, which has taken a tumble in recent years. Mm-hmm. The fundamentals matter. You still got to do your homework. You still got to ask questions. You still got to do research and dig around for things. And like I said, with Plattner, it was like there was no there. So that in and of itself should have been a red flag. Now, and that's before we get to the Nazi tattoo. That's before we get to the allegations. And again, he was campaigning for almost a year. So it's not like, all of this stuff just came out of nowhere. This was dripping. It was like a leaky faucet. It was slowly but surely coming. And I suspect what it is that the Republicans and Senator Collins, they were hoping that he would implode a little bit later on, like the October surprise. I heard something similar about Congressman Eric Swalwell, like with his allegations. It's like, okay, now he was running for president in 2020, and we didn't hear a peep about any of this stuff. And yet, and I'm not going to get into whether or not a woman should come forward. That's not my cross to bear. But again, it was like, given how long he was in Congress, and, it was just like, with Plattner, there was nothing there. Okay. And so the idea that he got as far as he did, to me, is extremely troubling. But it's not on Schumer. That I am not going to put on Schumer.
Okay.
There's a quote by the poet Audre Lorde that says, "The master's tool will never dismantle the master's house." We cannot beat the Republicans by being just as sketchy and lacking character and principle and just checking off some boxes because you say, I want to defund ICE and I side with the Palestinians against Israel and AIPAC. It's not enough just to speak these things, but if you've got a Nazi tattoo, you've said all these problematic things online, you have a history of being really, really bad with women, you can't be my candidate. I can't roll with you just because you have a D behind your name. The problem with vote blue no matter who is that there are some people who don't deserve our vote. And when Black people, especially Black women, are sounding the alarm and saying about Graham Plattner what they were saying about John Fetterman.
Oh, now see, I missed the John Fetterman. Don't get me on that.
We have to listen and pay attention to what the sisters are saying because, hey, they see what's happening, they tell us what's happening, and we ignore them at our own peril.
But here's the thing, Jeff. If you look at the population of Maine, it's predominantly white. So what Black people, never mind Black women, was sounding the alarm about Plattner early on?
We didn't know him.
I mean, we sounded the alarm later, but I mean, again, just speaking for myself, I've never set foot in the state. That's why if you were to go through my social media history, I never said a word about him because I don't know anything about him. But what I do know is, yes, we have, as a community, we had our questions about him and we had our doubts, but I cannot say that we were the first to sound the alarm because again, we're not in the trenches like that.
Yeah,
Gary, Gary, did you know anything about him?
And AOC and Mandani and Democratic Socialists of America, I think that they are valuable, and I probably more aligned with them on certain issues than I do with Chuck Schumer and the Democratic establishment. But the fact is, this was a check. This was they got checked on this one. They got to take this L. I've already publicly apologized to my moderate Democratic friends for not so much running money to Mandani, to Plattner, which I did not, but for saying, let the voters of Maine decide. Well, they decided, and guess what? They chose poorly.
Yeah.
When you say, well, just real quick, you said they got, who's got to take the L?
They
The DNC or the Democrat?
The progressive left. Democrats.
Okay, thank you. Okay, I just wanted to right.
Gary, what do you think about this? What do you think? What did you think about the Maine situation? You being way out there in Oregon.
Maine and Oregon have more in common in terms of population than you might think. There's a lot of trees in both of these states.
Yes.
A lot of quiet areas, shall we say. Listen,
you both have cities named Portland.
Yeah, that's right. I've never been in a place in my life before where I have questioned whether or not I'd be willing to sacrifice my own ethics. But I feel like in the last few years, I've reached that point where I see situations where I think I'm going to compromise what really matters to me and what I've tried to stand behind all my life, because I'm very concerned that this man is not going to leave the White House at the end of his term. I think the immediate concern is getting this guy out. And you got to remember, we as a party, the Democrats, for those who consider themselves here Democrats, we ran this guy out when rape accusations came up. He's gone. But we're opposing a side where their leader, who was nominated to the highest office in the land, is on recorded tape talking about grabbing women freely by their genitals without their permission. All right. So you've got one team playing by one rules, and you got one team playing by no rules. And I don't have to worry about voting in Maine, but I want control of the Senate. And I think it is crucial to the survival of this country for white people, black people, and everybody else who's fighting to make a living and fighting to make a home for themselves and isn't at the millionaire or billionaire level, needs to make sure that this guy and the message of his party is put out for good in the next presidential election. And to do that, we have to have the Senate. And if we lose the Senate by one vote, that's Graham Plattner. And I just want people to keep that in mind. I don't know that I would have been able to vote for him, but it would have been very tough to withhold my vote if it was him or Susan Collins.
Gary, I totally agree with you on that. I really do. My thing is, Maine is going to have to fix this. That's the problem. We can't do nothing about it from New York City and wherever everybody else is. Maine is going to have to fix this. And I still think it's salvageable. I think we're taking Maine.
Yeah.
The biggest problem with Maine is that their state legislators and governors term out. So nobody gets to build up the cross the state reputation that like a Lindsey Graham or a Susan Collins does at the federal level. The minute somebody gets some momentum, they're out of office because they're termed out. And so the bench in Maine is not very deep. And that's why with Plattner gone, you're still not hearing everybody coalesce around a single name, because I don't think most of the party knows who the hell's gonna take Plattner's place. They're not ready for this. And I don't know if there's a good candidate there. And that's my biggest concern. Susan Collins is a powerhouse. She's got 30 years of being in that seat. She's got an infrastructure that cannot be beaten. It's going to be very tough with some newbie.
What do you think about, Gary, what do you think of Troy Jackson?
I think he's the best bet, but I know very little about Troy Jackson. I don't follow Maine politics because, frankly, there's usually nothing to follow. So I have to do some education. But what I have heard about Troy Jackson, it makes it sound like he'd be able to hold on to the people that were there for Plattner, if I'm not mistaken. He's very similar in style and in message. So that may be the best way to go. And look, I'm not happy that John Fetterman is a Democratic senator, but he's there. And 90 some odd % of the time he is voting with the party. That stuff doesn't get the press attention, and I don't like him. But sometimes you have to hold your nose.
Ugh. Anyways, let's get back to Lindsay. Let's go back to Lindsay.
Poor Lindsay.
I know, poor Lindsay. You know what? I wake up in the middle of the night all the time. Like
seeing Lindsey Graham,
3:30, and I looked on my phone and I see this alert, and I thought my brain is thinking Mitch, and it took me a while to realize it was Lindsay, and I was like, what Lindsay? So I say all that to say is that before Trump, guys, and this is the truth, Lindsay was known as a very moderate Republican. Lindsay was good pals with Joe Biden. He was definitely a very good friend to John McCain, who the Maverick. I like John McCain. Now, and that's the thing about a democracy. You don't have to agree with everybody, what they say or do or whatever all the time, because that's the beauty of a democracy. You're supposed to be able to talk it out and negotiate. But Lindsay was that kind of dude until that fateful day on the golf course when he got invited to Mar-a-Lago to golf with Trump. And I don't know what their discussion was, but Lindsay came back different.
Well, here's the thing. Was he
Lindsay
invited?
came back real different.
Here's my rhetorical question to you in the panel. Was he invited or was he summoned?
We don't know. All we know is they
but
went
my
to
point
Austin.
is, you make it sound like my point is, you make it sound like he had a say in the matter. I do give some credence to the possibility that he was being blackmailed, like over his alleged sexuality. I don't know if he is or not gay, but I do suspect there's some truth to that he was being blackmailed over that. And so he wasn't invited to Mar-a-Lago. He was told to come there. That's my point.
Mm-hmm. Well, I don't know. Les, are you there?
Like, I agree with you, Zachary.
Yeah.
I don't have any proof of that, but I do believe that to be the case.
Yeah.
It does make you wonder if there was a secret, and it's as the commenter just said, worst kept secret. Wouldn't somebody have used that against him long before?
You can't slander a dead man. Okay, so I'm just gonna say what I think. I think Lindsey Graham was a closeted gay man. I think that either Trump or the Russians or someone had that compromising information. I think there's a lot of gay escorts somewhere in Washington, D.C. that are about to take a sudden hit in the wallet. I think he also was a man who was he was not a strong man individually. He was a man who was attracted to strong men, whether it was John McCain, and when John McCain passed, he fell off of McCain and he flipped over to Trump. I think it was Steve Schmidt who ran McCain's first run for presidency, running as president against Obama, who said that Lindsey Graham was like a pilot fish to a shark. A pilot fish is a fish that trails behind the shark and consumes the food that the shark does not eat. Lindsey Graham was a weak man. He was a man who had no principles that he would stand on. One day he's saying that, hold me to my words. Donald Trump if we look like Donald Trump, we deserve to get beat. And the next minute, he's latched on to him like herpes. I don't understand how a man who had any core beliefs or principles could do that. But Lindsey Graham was a coward. He was a closet case. And he will go down in history as one of the biggest failures in American politics.
So this is what I'm going to say. I don't care about talking about Lindsey Graham after he's dead because he has harmed so many people. But as a Black woman, the policies that he put in place have been harmful and they will linger for a long time, well after he's dead. So I don't have a problem pointing that out. Anything else that he did was probably for show. It looks like whoever's the administration is at the time, he suckers up to them. He cozies up to them. That's why he was friends with Biden. And that's why he was friends with McCain, because they were powerful at the time. As soon as Trump came in, he was like, oh, I need to make a 180. And all I'm going to say about his personal life, there have been, Don Lemon did a little video. And he said that when he went back to, because they're both from the same place, when he went back, there was talk on the street on the down low with the old gays, he said, that everybody knows about Lindsay.
Yeah.
And also, all I can say is that White House Grandpa and Lindsay like YMCA. Come on now.
I have something I want to share with everybody. I thought it was one of the best pieces I'd seen on Lindsay. Let's see. Oh boy, let me see. Is this it? No. I got so much stuff here.
While you're searching, Pam, I want to talk about the fact that
here it is.
Ukraine before he came back.
I found it. Okay. This was what Keith Boykin said about Lindsay. I thought it was perfect. Pitch perfect.
Yeah, I saw this.
Was a great and honorable man just because he's dead, because he wasn't. Lindsey Graham was a miserable, evil warmonger with no principles. The sad, pathetic end of his career is a testament to a Republican Party that's become a cult to Donald Trump. I don't care what anybody says from the Republican Party. I'm not going to take any lectures from them after they support a president who virtually spit on the graves of John McCain, Robert Mueller, and Rob Reiner. What made Lindsey Graham so horrible is that he knew better. He was close friends with Republican Senator John McCain, the man Trump attacked in life and kept attacking after he died in 2018. And then he snuggled up to Trump like a puppy dog, begging for a bone from his owner. What kind of man befriends the enemy of his deceased best friend? Trump gave out Lindsey Graham's personal cell phone number to the world, and Lindsey laughed it off like the beta male that he always was. What I hate about Lindsey Graham is that he knew exactly who Trump was from the beginning. He called Trump
race baiting, xenophobic, religious bigot.
He said he's
unfit for office
and said that he
doesn't have the temperament or judgment to control himself.
Graham said that Trump would be
the most flawed nominee in the history of the Republican Party.
And after all that, he became a lapdog. Yes, he briefly broke with Trump after the January 6th insurrection and said,
"Count me out. Enough is enough."
But the very next day, he was cozying up to Trump again. And just here, Graham said that
Trump is my favorite president.
And why?
We're killing all the right people.
And that's who Lindsey Graham was, a man who got a hard-on for war, Afghanistan, Iraq, Venezuela, Cuba, Iran. It didn't matter for Lindsey.
I go back to South Carolina. I'm asking them to send their sons and daughters over to the Mideast.
Graham recently told Israel,
"Why is it okay for America to drop 2 nuclear bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki? To Israel, do whatever you have to do."
I don't care if Lindsey Graham was gay and spent his whole life in the closet. That's a struggle his conscience had to deal with and take to his grave. I do care that he spent his entire career supporting a party that tried to hurt LGBTQ people. And that's the problem. It's the constant lies and hypocrisy from Graham and the Republican Party. When President Obama nominated a Supreme Court justice in 2016, Graham made up a new rule that we can't fill a vacancy in the last year of a president's term. But then when Ruth Bader Ginsburg died in the last few months of Trump's first term, Graham changed the rule and pushed Amy Coney Barrett onto the Supreme Court 1 week before Election Day.
And you could use my words against me and you'd be absolutely right.
He did the same thing on abortion. First, he said
they should decide the issue of abortion.
Then a few months later, he supported a national abortion ban because
this is not a states' rights issue.
Today's Republicans have no principles but power. If they will sell their souls to Trump, they'll sell their souls to the next highest bidder as well. But now that Lindsey Graham is dead and Mitch McConnell may be next, it's time for us to put a stop once and for all to the mad cult of Donald Trump.
He told no lies. I saw that post earlier today, and that was my only thought. He told no lies. Yeah. I mean, Graham's legacy, if you can call it that, isn't something to be proud of. History is not going to be kind to him. History is not going to be kind to Mitch McConnell. And Obama talked about that in his book, A Promised Land, when he was saying how, Trump, Giuliani, those guys, it's one thing to have political disagreements, but what really boggled Obama's mind was they're going out saying these things and enacting these policies and doing these things, and they know better. They know better.
Yeah. Zachary says, I don't think anyone in Trump's cabinet who knew what Trump was before and kissed the ring for power should be ineligible for future office.
They should be in jail, but that's just me.
They need to hurry up and be in jail.
That's just.
I think Les is having a hard time with his staying online. But anyways,
I guess because it's 130 degrees in Detroit, isn't it? Isn't he doing the heat killing you there?
He had a heat issue in his home, and he was in his car, so I don't know what's going on. But
that doesn't bode well for me. It's supposed to be a heat wave in New York later on this week.
Yeah, everybody's having a heat wave.
Keith Boykin is a good brother. You've probably seen him on CNN and part of the Abby Phillips panel. I was contribute to a publication he ran at one time, and he tells no lies here about Lindsey Graham. His sexuality, orientation, whatever his secrets he took to his grave, that matters less to what Gwen says. The damage and the hurt and the harm he did to people in his life. And the fact that this man would actually sit up there and tell people of South Carolina, I want to send your sons and daughters all to die in a war that has zero benefit to you or your country is abominable. The man was a national embarrassment and a sick, sad joke of a human being.
Also, I'm probably going to burn in hell for.
Latrice, let Renee go.
I was going to say, it's also, he gave us Kavanaugh. He was the one that sat there on the committee and called what's her name, the woman, a liar.
Yes,
she was a liar. The letter is fake. Why are y'all believing this? And he was the one to help get that fake FBI investigation on whether or not that letter was truthful or not. It was all a sham, and that was Lindsay's doing, and that's why Donald Trump, White House grandpa, likes him. That's why.
I think your nickname for Trump is just much too kind. White House grandpa he's not deserving of that. White House grandpa,
he's adulterating, shit in his pants, don't know where he is, suffering from dementia, think he don't remember what day from the next and what year it is. He's living in the 80s. Come on now. He's a doddering old dirty old White House grandpa. I ain't talking about everybody else's grandpa, but that's what he is. And the reason why I say it is because he does not like people to call him old. He will call him
Diaper Don and leave it at that.
Old, but he don't like it. So
Diaper Don, you saying, Jeff?
Yeah, Diaper Don.
I like Diaper Don. I like it too. Oh dear, I hate we've lost Lester right now.
Hopefully he'll return. All I was gonna say is, like, career-wise, professionally speaking, I'm back in working in family court after 8.5 years, and I started my career in family court. And whenever I interacted with litigants, well, not with litigants, but I would just talk with my family and friends about the job and whatnot. And I would always say to people that, marriage and parenthood isn't for everybody. Just because you can doesn't mean you should. And the one good thing that Lindsey Graham did was he did not procreate.
And that's a very good statement. And on that statement, we're going to switch over to subjects, and we are going to talk about, drum roll, Mandami. I'm going to put up on the screen this piece on Mandami. Let's see if this is it. Nope, that's not it. That's another one. It's this one. Okay. This one doesn't have any vocals or anything, but this is what I say about Mandami on social media. All he does is win. That's what I see right now. 1 million in customer payouts from a company run by a dictatorial CEO. Yeah, he won a $1.7 million extra space storage for deceiving customers. His administration has recovered over $4 million from 5 exploitive companies since Monday. He's just winning. He's winning all the time. What you got to say about your mayor?
Yeah, I got a lot to say. That's why I shared those screenshots. I'm going to say this. The short answer.
I said Renee.
Well, I think Latrice is going to have a lot more than I got to say. All I can say is I love my man. I don't care what Mandani has done. He's proven that all those years with the governors and the mayors that they had, they were gaslighting us. Mm-hmm. They were lying. They said that, we can't get this done because of that. If we raise taxes on the rich, they're going to leave New York City. I'm still waiting for them rich people to get the hell on out of here. They ain't left nowhere yet. More people are coming into New York because of what he's doing. This man has gotten done most of the things he promised in 6 months that some people have done in 2 or 3 terms. So I don't care what else you got to say about him. That man is walking that damn wall. Child care. He just got a whole new thing about the fastest buses in any city. He's getting that done. The only thing,
Renee,
Hey, Latrice, let her speak.
I'm gonna let you speak, but I just know
the only thing I would say he hasn't gotten done yet is free buses, and that's because of the state legislature, and that he's gonna have 2 years to figure that out. But I'll say this too: maybe he has not tackled racial issues or discrimination issues, but nobody else has either. Give the man some damn time. He's only been here 7 months. Why are you going to lay all that on his shoulder? He balanced a budget that was left to him by the last mayor. Come on now. Give the man some. Y'all putting nobody else is doing anything. He's gotten more done, but everybody want to talk about, he ain't got that done. He ain't got that done. Well, none of them have gotten any of the I'm getting ready to say a bad word.
You can go ahead and say it. This is
shit that he's gotten done in 30, 40 years. Now come at me if you like. That's all.
Challenge accepted. Challenge accepted.
Okay, Latrice, what you got to say?
My short answer is I don't think Mandami's the Antichrist, but I don't think he's a savior either. I've always said that, like in the screenshots, and I stand, which I wrote last year and I stand on now, he made a lot, and I do mean a lot. He made a lot of campaign promises, some of which have been fulfilled, some which have not been. But my issue,
months, Latrice.
No. Let me finish. My issue is not with him personally, but I think the people in his inner circle, and especially his supporters, I think they're propping him up to be something he isn't. I'm going to give you a perfect example. So, okay, Rikers is set to close next year. Now, if he wants to take credit for that, that's fine. I don't have an issue with that because technically that is going to happen on his watch. But the closing of Rikers has been in works for 5 to 10 years. That preceded him. That preceded him before he got into the state assembly. So to credit him and him alone with that, I think is kind of disingenuous. Another example would be the child care. Yes, he campaigned on child care and he's got that done, but he did not do it alone. When Governor Hochul endorsed him after winning the primary last year, she said one of the things she believed in universal child care, and she's going to help him make that happen. That was a team effort. And furthermore, again, with the child care, she's on board with that. But to hear his supporters tell it, it's like, oh, he's steamrolling everybody. It's kind of like, well, no, there's a city council he has the answer to. There is a state legislature that has to co-sign what he's doing. So he's not doing all this by himself. Yes, he has made some pretty notable accomplishments within the first 6 months of his mayoralty. Good for him. I'm not knocking him. But I think the savior complex is not doing him any favors.
I don't think anybody is saying he's a savior.
Back real quick.
Yeah, please.
Nobody is calling him a savior. The whole point of electing somebody and for voters to vote for somebody who can represent them and get the things that they need and want as constituents, and he's doing it. Of course, he didn't do this by himself. The one thing the Democratic Party can learn from Mandami is the fact that he cleaned house and brought in a badass team. Mm-hmm. They are badass, and he brought them in, and they're young. They're all shades of people, all religions, and they are doing the damn work. He ain't playing, and so you got to give him credit for that. He's a great manager. No, he is not doing this by himself. He got Hochul to agree with him on stuff that she said she wasn't gonna do.
No. She was down with the child care. She's fighting him on the free buses.
No, she wasn't down on the buses. She wasn't down on the free grocery store. She wasn't down on a lot of stuff that he said he was going to do.
No. She was down with the child care. I remember specifically.
I'm not talking about the child care. I'm talking about all the other stuff. She was saying, I'm not doing it. And look at her. She's doing it. But that's all I'm saying. He's good with managing and working with other people. Definitely need to learn that. Stop calling people names. Stop trying to say, oh, look what the DNC did to him. They would rather have Cuomo, who is a 12 to 13 women sexual person. They'd rather have him in there than Mandami.
No, the voters did not want Cuomo, and I noted that in my screenshot. We were not down with Cuomo.
Okay, what's Jeff's got something to say? Ladies, let Jeff speak.
If I can add this, I will defer to Latrice because sisters on the ground in NYC. I am not. None of us are besides her.
So no, she isn't. Renee is too. Renee is too.
Okay, but let me say this: being the mayor of New York City is like being the governor of the 51st state of the United States. Running New York City is a job that has broken a lot of really smart people. Okay, Democrats, Republicans, independents, whatever. And yes, is Mandami going to get the credit for pulling things across the finish lines that someone else started? Sure, he will. But he's also going to get the blame for stuff that doesn't get done in his first term. But the fact of the matter is, I love the fact that someone comes in and gets the popular vote, and guess what? There's not rioting in the streets. No one's attacking Jewish people. There's no he hasn't implemented Sharia law in New York City. All the horrible things he said. Where's all the billionaires leaving New York to run down to Miami or Texas? It didn't happen. New York City is real quick. New York City is a very hard place to run. But as the song goes, if you can make it there, you can make it anywhere. And the fact that the man he got 3 Democrats, socialists elected to office. You win the primary in New York, you're going to win the general. And it's scaring the hell out of the people like Chuck Schumer, James Carville, the Democratic establishment. And I particularly, for one, welcome it, because I want to see people in office who think about the working class and people first, rather than billionaires and corporations all the freaking
That's right.
time.
Yes. That's my thing about Mandami. He's doing it. And it might be some things that you don't like about him or whatever. Like David had a question. He said it made him uncomfortable to see Mandami meet up with Trump after he was elected. Because, Trump likes winners. You know that.
Yeah.
And
My answer to that question is no.
And also, the Knicks won the championship. Give somebody some credit. While James Dolan was sitting there being bitter and nasty and mean and the victory, Mandani was gracious. He had his history right. He was on point. He smoked James Dolan like a sausage. And I'm here for it.
And I'm gonna say, and Mandani, the thing is, he went and he met up with White House Grandpa, and he lived. He came back.
Well, yeah, like I said, the answer to your question, David, is no. You should not be concerned. Like Mamdani's going to govern from City Hall and do what he needs to do throughout his term, and Trump is going to be Trump. So, but no, you should not be concerned. Because, here's the thing. I just want to make this quick point. When you heard people talking about, it's sort of like, 20-something years ago when Bush was in the White House and people talking about how if Bush wins, they're going to leave the country and move to Canada, and they didn't go anywhere. When I heard, millionaires and billionaires saying that, I thought the same thing. They're not going anywhere. The city's going to be fine no matter who's in the hot seat. But people were not rocking with Cuomo. I just want to make that very clear. We weren't rocking with Cuomo. We weren't rocking with Adams. So,
Well, what I'm saying is the DNC. I said DNC. I said not about the voters. The DNC had backed Cuomo. They would rather have seen Cuomo in office than Mandani. They did everything. They did all they could.
Schumer definitely would have.
No, I agree with that point. But the thing is, as you know, Renee, there was a reason for that. Again, I'm not saying it's right, because I personally didn't care for Cuomo either. But my theory on why they threw their support behind Cuomo is because they wanted to distance themselves from Adams, and they figured, Cuomo was governor for a decade. Before that, he was attorney general. Before that, he was in the Clinton administration. Again, it wasn't a smart move, and it blew up in their face big time. But that's my theory as to why they supported Cuomo as opposed to Mamdani, which was a dumb thing to do.
Gary, do you have anything to say from Portland, Oregon? Your observations from way out west, what's happened way out east?
Well, as far as meeting President Trump, I wasn't thrilled with it either. But go meet the guy you just won, then go do some stuff, accomplish some things, get a lion's share of support from your city, and then tell Trump to F off. It would not be the smart move right when you win to turn down a meeting with the president of the United States. Right. So I get that. We did not see the obsequiousness that we saw from Lindsey Graham. He went, he met the guy, he shook his hand, he took a picture, he came back to New York. He's not going to change his philosophy. He's not going to flip and become a Trumper. None of that's going to happen. And just quickly speaking to Hakeem Jeffries and Chuck Schumer, I think it's important to simply remember that they have to worry about something that the mayor of New York does not really have to worry about, and that's swing state voters all across this country. All right. Now, they might be able to get on board with some of the tenets of democratic socialism. They might like the idea, the buzzword of affordability and childcare and whatnot. But, you're also going to have to deal with abolish the police and other things that, whether you want to agree with them or not, you lose those swing voters across the country, state after state after state after state, then it's not going to matter who's on what side, because we're going to just remain out of power again. So I think that, Schumer and Jeffries would be wise to just wait and see how many successes Mandami can accrue. And then you'll be surprised how elastic the Democratic Party will become when they start seeing win after win, and they're able to bring him into the party and they got to keep a coalition. So the Democratic Socialists need to tame one end of their party. They're not doing it yet. They're having their moment, but I think they're going to pull back.
Wait, Jim.
And that's all. That's. I just want to say, parties tend, in a reaction to MAGA, there's a wing of the Democrats that are going extreme. It always happens. One side goes extreme, the other side finds an extreme and goes in the same direction.
But I would only say we've just saw in the New York primary with the defeat of two incumbent Democratic representatives. Mandami flexed his muscles and he ticked off the Democratic establishment in the process. But he also sent a message that he is not going to be a localized force. He wants to be a national force. Now, these
were all local New York districts. Of course he's going to be able to succeed there.
But the way the party reacted on a national level, from people like Carville, from people like the former Jamie Harrison, from other people who reacted and said, "Get out of the Democratic Party if you don't want to just use our resources and don't want to rock with us." The Democratic Party cannot win by trying to treat its progressive left like they're the crazy uncles in the attic. They have to find a way to accommodate, because people don't want to accommodate and negotiate with Donald Trump and his MAGA Republicans. They want fighters, and Mandani and the DSA are bringing fighters to the party. We'll see what happens in Michigan with their Senate race, and we'll see what happens across the board. I know this won't play in Alabama or Mississippi or Ohio or certain places. It's a very localized effect, but it is still an effect, and the Democratic Party can either fight it or try to make peace with it, and try to, just like AOC has gone from that left-wing radical outsider. She didn't endorse a lot of these guys on that Mandani endorsed. She didn't endorse Graham Plattner. She's become a team player. It's kind of like, to use a phrase that Lyndon Johnson said, "I'd rather have them in the tent pissing out than outside the tent pissing in."
Yes.
Bring your radicals and your leftists into the party and show them how the process works. And more than often than not, they will work and learn from you and keep winning with you.
And I think the more successes you see from Mandani coming out of New York, the more likely you're going to see Jeffries and Schumer opening up to that wing of the party. What they need to see is proof of life.
But the thing I'm going to say about the thing I'm going to say about Mandani, everybody keeps talking about him like he's going to clone himself and go to other states. No, he's more like a buffet. You take what works for you and take it to your state. That's why some of these other candidates are winning. There is nothing I had a post to somebody who said, "Well, Mandani, this and this." I said, "Well, tell me something that Mandani has asked for that other people in other states don't want. Why y'all treat Mandani like he's not an American? He's an American. New Yorkers are American. We bleed just like every other American. We want the same things that other Americans want. We might have to deal with certain things that's specific to New York City, but we're all American. All we want is to be able to take care of our family, have a roof over our head, have health care, not die or not be snatched off the street. There is nothing Mandani has said and has asked for that will not play in other states. Now, the vessel that it comes in might make a difference. Like, you might need a white man in Midwest or something to say those kinds of things and say it in a way that Iowa might have to worry about why their corn is not being bought or whatever. So you switch it up. But he is not saying anything that not one human being on this planet does not want for themselves and their loved ones.
Can I just speak to that? Because one of Mandani's candidates is, and forgive me if I'm getting your name wrong, Daria Lisa Chevalier, right? And she won her district. So, you know, she's going to win her election in November. Now, she is somebody, to my mind, is an example of someone who has been quoted with saying some incredibly extreme things. And unfortunately, what I'm saying is that's going to get tied around the neck of anybody who aligns themselves in that part of the party. Now, your point is that if you get the right candidate in there, they can sell around that message and say, no, that person is New York. That's an extreme way of thinking. I'm not for those.
I will see you, that candidate, and I will raise you Ken Paxton. If she is untenable politically, nationally, then so is someone who is crooked as a dog back leg as Ken Paxton.
I'm with you, but I did say about a half an hour ago that we're a party that's playing by rules and the other team isn't. And that's the larger issue here, is that we're constantly holding our own up to a level of scrutiny that ends up firing backwards in our faces.
Okay, I accept, Gary, that Democrats hold their candidates to a standard that Republicans didn't. If Brian Plattner was a conservative Republican, he'd still be the nominee for Senate. But the fact of the fact is, but when the Democrats throw aside their principles and they just pick somebody because they articulate the right positions and they have the right amount of money behind them and the right amount of white liberals, and I'm gonna say white progressive liberals, the Bernie Sanders bros, and if you ever see the guy who ran a $6,000 background check on Plattner that took about 10 days to run and missed everything, just to say, hey, we don't care. He's articulating the right positions. When Democrats sell themselves out and disregard all the flashing red lights of a Graham Plattner saying, hey, we just want to beat Susan Collins. We don't care how flawed the candidate is. Hey, maybe a Nazi tattoo is a disqualifying thing in every case. I don't care what your politics are.
Gary, I want to say this. I'm a Democrat. I've always been a Democrat. So don't get me wrong. But what I don't like about labels is that we buy into what the Republicans decide to label us.
Yeah, we do. All the time.
And we own it and we take it on. Why are we playing in their damn backyard? Play in ours. Democratic Socialist is just a title.
Yeah.
Listen to the policies. I mean,
hey, I won't argue with you on any of that, but I'll remind you, we don't have a swing voter here among us, and the swing voter is going to think very differently than what you're saying. I'm not talking about how I feel personally, certainly. I'm talking about when it comes to the day that everyone casts their vote, who they're going to cast that vote for.
I'm not so sure because
I'm going to go, and I'll say this as the last thing. I just want to remind everybody, I want Trump out. I think it is the most immediate pressing issue, and it must be done because he will not leave. He will not go away gracefully. And if he has to leave the office, he will find a way to still puppeteer that office. My concern is just hamstringing him for the next 2 years and weakening him as much as possible. But I'm with you on everything you're saying.
Yeah, but Chevalier people voted for her. They voted for her. So they wanted her.
It's all about her. And I understand that. I'm simply saying she herself has apologized for some of the extreme things that she has tweeted. So I'm not talking out of school here.
She should.
Well, I just have a quick question, Gary. I'm with you on wanting Trump out of the White House, but exactly who's replacing him? Because I have zero faith in J.D. Vance. And then after Vance comes Mike Johnson. I don't want him in power either. And then down the line we go.
I don't think a day goes by that Donald Trump isn't thinking about how to hang on past the next term. That's my number one concern. I don't see J.D. Vance as a strong contender. I don't see Marco Rubio as a strong contender. They're weak. They don't do what Trump does. You know, they can't electrify people the way he seems to be able to do. It doesn't work with me, but it works with a lot of people. I'm simply
but again, like you mentioned Rubio, he's the Secretary of State.
Mafia, and he is not going to leave. And if we do not have control of the Senate, we're going to probably control the House. But with Senate power, we can really weaken him over the next 2 years. And let me tell you something, we are going to have to spend 2 years to weaken him. Because if he leaves office, and I think he's going to try to stay, but if he leaves office and he's still alive, he is still controlling a huge section of America with his thinking and his Truth Social and his communication. And, you know, the only way that we're going to be able to topple him is if we do it through legal means in the Senate and the House by controlling both of those. How we get there, I don't care.
Gary, have you seen White House Grandpa lately? That man ain't gonna make it to through sanely for the next 2 years. Are you kidding me?
Evil lives forever. Evil.
Well, I'm gonna say
I think we also need to concern ourselves with non-state actors like Steve Bannon. I think a lot of things are getting lost in this conversation here. Like, again, the issue's bigger than Trump. Like, okay, when I woke up this morning and heard about Senator Graham, it's like, okay, but like, okay, if I go to bed tonight and wake up Monday morning and hear that Trump is dead, guess what? We still have a problem.
Well, here's the thing. For a long time, I hear what you're saying, Gary. I hear what you're saying, Latrice. But you know what? I never used to say Dick Cheney's name without saying evil Dick Cheney. Okay, the man who dragged us into a war against Iraq. And guess where Dick Cheney is? He ain't here. All right. One day Donald Trump will be gone. One day Mitch McConnell will be gone. One day, well, Lindsey Graham is gone. Evil does not live forever. Every bad man and woman on this earth, from Jeffrey Epstein, Adolf Hitler, to John Wayne Gacy, and everyone in between, they all have an expiration date, just like you, me, and everyone else we know. So we can despair and be afraid of that Donald Trump won't leave. But if Donald Trump won't leave, we put his ass out.
Okay, but it's not Donald Trump. It's history is telling me that Donald Trump won't leave.
The second January 6th will not be MAGA marching on Washington. It will be the left, the independents, and the people who love Americans, including Republicans and conservatives, who say you have no right to be there, and we are taking you out.
Yeah. I hope you're right. And I of course was speaking. I was speaking hyperbolically when I said Trump will live forever. I just meant those SOBs tend to make it to like 100 or 101, and they're still kicking, and they never go. And you're like, come on.
The damage that Donald Trump and Project 2025 has done to this country will not be reversed by whoever wins the next election. We can have a Democratic president, a Democratic Senate, a Democratic House, and it will take years to unscrew how screwed up this country has been in the short time they've been there, and we still got 2 more years to go. But the fact of the matter is, that's not a reason to despair. That's a reason to get hyped. Every one of us knows someone who didn't vote in 2024, who we need to get vote in 2026 and 2028, and we need to get that person mobilized and radicalized or whatever it is and formed to do the right thing. I want a peaceful transition of power in 2026 and 2028. But if it doesn't happen that way because they cheated and they tried to steal elections, we cannot leave out the possibility, just as they have done, we might have to do the same.
Jeff, my post today about Lindsey Graham dying was everybody catches a toe tag. That's the everybody catches a toe tag. It's just a matter of when you catch it. And he didn't think he was catching his as soon. But I will say this on a positive note about what you were saying, Jeff, about we have to coalesce and make sure that we become prophylactic about how we protect these elections and all that. Well, it would be good to know that the Democratic governors are meeting behind the scenes about what they're going to do about their state elections. It'd be good to know that there is a huge Black caucus that's meeting behind the scenes that are also discussing what they're going to do. They're running scenarios and drills, and so that they know what to do if this should happen in this state, if that should happen in this state. The lawyers are lined up. Mark Elias is my man.
Yeah.
I love Mark Elias.
Democracy docket, yes.
Yes, he does not lose a fight. So he's already got his team of lawyers already planning what they're going to do when this happens, if that should happen. That man ain't keeping this White House.
But if we show up and show out in numbers and in force, all the No Kings rallies and things like that. They should be things for every Democratic strategist, everyone who's trying to mobilize the vote in 2026. You have to fire that base up and get them to show up in the first Tuesday of November and make it so it's such an overwhelming blue wave. Yes. The Republicans can't fight back. They can try, but they're going to lose.
Yeah.
Agreed.
One more thing, because we're over time anyways, but the the last subject was we didn't get to was Nolan, the young man Nolan Wells, the unfortunate case of the black teenager Nolan Wells and his mysterious death. I had a it's the latest as of before the show started about him. Some information that this is the wrong one. That was out. Let me find it. Here it is.
Look how well behaved we can be when we want to be.
Oops.
Bro, Nono didn't get into a fight at the island. It was our other friend, Nono and Wyatt, did get into an altercation right after.
Oops. Nono is Nolan.
10 minutes later, because Wyatt took his phone and Evan was trying to be hard. Nolan was definitely screaming, "Give me my effing phone back," N-word, with "What's wrong with you?" So they all calmed down. So that's when we head to Evan's house because he was throwing a pool party. So yes, Nono came to the party. And yes, we were drinking, but Wyatt and Evan and Morgan and Andrew were really high. And I think they were trying to get Lucy and Natalie to try some as well. But yes, they got into it again at the pool party. It didn't end until almost 1 a.m. I know Evan's mom kicked us all out. Once they started fighting, it was Andrew and Evan and Wyatt, and Warren was basically recording and laughing, saying, "Get him, get him." And all I could hear was Nono screaming, "Mom." So yes, I tried helping. Then his mom comes out screaming, yelling, "Drunk, make us leave," and was saying she was going to call the cops on us if we didn't leave her house. But they didn't let Nono leave, and Nono was by the basketball goal that was inside the pool. He was leaning over besides it, gasping for air and spitting up blood. But now his mom knows. I just got off the phone with her. Then Alicia said something, Jay saying that because he is friends with them. I mean, we always, until I don't know why Jay's still communication with them. But anyway, but he always been like that, LOL. But nah, this mess up because Nono still would be here if he didn't go to that pool party. He went around people that was real high and the parents allowed it. But yeah, Nono did make it back to the island. This is all allegedly.
Now, here are pictures of him allegedly at that pool party.
I just want to get this information out there in case there is some truth to it, which in some parts would make sense, but we have to wait to the autopsy to come out to see what happened. But again, we pray for the family of Nolan, Xavier Wells. This is such a terrible, sad situation. And we just want the truth to come out because there's so many different stories, but it would make sense why they were so sus and not giving up the keys to his car, why the phone made it back to a friend's house. And did they possibly take Nolan back to the island and then leave him there? I don't know, guys. I will keep you updated. Let me know if you find out more information. Send it to me in my DMs. Secret Service Sam out, Samson for president.
So essentially what that was, and I know it sounds a little weird or whatever, but he literally does some serious fact checking. And what has happened essentially is that the kids, some of the kids are talking. And so what they're saying, and it makes sense when I was looking through you know how when you look in the comments, people kind of flesh out ideas and things because the kids know there were too many people involved and that he was around for people not to know what happened to this young man. And it would make sense why so many of them lawyered up before they even looked for him or even said anything. But what they're saying is that that Nolan Wells did make it off the island. They all did together, but they went to somebody's house. They went to a friend's house who had a pool, and you saw the picture of them in the pool. And whatever incident happened of him dying happened there at the house. And somehow his body is back at the island, which is a distance away from the homes, right? And it looks like I was listening to another a former judge in Mississippi. He's retired, and he said, "There's just no way. This thing doesn't make any sense." He said because it sounds like there were people that they were accessories to whatever happened to Nolan. So it's just, and that would make sense of why Nolan, other people ended up with his phone and his keys, and why his phone pinged to somebody's house. Everything was, hearing this new tidbit of information, which is huge. It's just really sad. It's just so sad. And
so Pam, let me ask you.
Uh-huh.
So he left the island, went to somebody's home to a pool party without calling his parents and saying, "Hey, I'm going to a pool party, Mom, Dad, is it okay?"
You know what? The way I gathered in listening to his parents talk about Nolan's activities and stuff, he was kind of free floating and free forming where he could go and how late he could be out and all of that. It sounds like they trusted him, and that he had already spent the night with these guys. They were all hanging, and they've hung together before at boating events and stuff before. So it was she felt he was a good kid and she trusted him. And it's just
there are a lot of things that just don't add up. It's just a very concerning story. I mean, it's tragic to begin with.
Yeah.
But when you do hear, I've not read too much about it, but I have looked at some of the circumstances, and there are some major contradictions. And as you mentioned, the kids are lawyering up. The phone and the keys made it back, but supposedly he didn't. I don't walk out onto the porch without my phone. I just don't. This morning, my charger snapped off in it, and I couldn't charge the phone. I was freaking out about what I was going to do. I'm not going to leave my phone behind someplace. Certainly not give it to people when they're leaving an island. There's obviously a big piece of this that's not making sense, that has not been brought to light, but it's just awful. It's just awful no matter what happened.
It is. It really is. Really is. Yeah. So
I'm gonna say this. Let me say this. Black people have to navigate how to move in America. And one of the things about integration was it allowed Black people to move into spaces and live in places where white people dominated. So we all, I'm sure most of us, if not all of us, have white friends or hang with white people, maybe dated white people, broke bread with white people. We're cool with white people. But there's always a certain amount of assumed risk as the only Black face in a predominantly white space. I don't know what happened. I don't care about what internet sleuths or say, and I certainly don't care what the Mississippi police departments or investigative forces. I'm glad people like Colin Kaepernick, Byron Allen, Tyler Perry, Al Sharpton, Ben Crump, and are getting involved with this. But I must say, I don't know what happened to this young brother, but as a father who has a Black daughter and a black son, I am always worried about what happens if they are in the Black face in a wrong place with white people, because we can't do what the white boys do. And when we forget that, too often the circumstances will turn in our face. If we're in a car where everybody's sparked up and smoking some dope and the cops pull us over and there's 3 white boys in the car and my Black butt, who's going to get pulled over? Who's going to get pulled out? Who's going to get searched? Who's a flashlight going to be put on? The Black kid. We have to be cautious when we move in the white world, because we are always going to be the outsider, the outlier, the stranger in a strange land. Black women get it bad. Black males get it bad. We cannot be cautious. We have to keep your third eye open. Stay woke. Be aware of where you are, because those people who might be your buddies, if 4 of y'all leave and 3 of y'all come back, and the one that don't come back is Black, that's a problem. They've all wired up. Nobody's talking. We don't know what happened. I won't assume the worst, but something about this all smells. And before it drops out of the memory hole, and 2 weeks from now, we've forgotten all about this young brother.
Yeah.
Teach your kids not just for that talk about the police, but what happens when that white person they love that white person they're cool with, that white person they're down with, flips on them, and shit goes left.
Okay, I'm going to say this about that case. There was another case where 4 Black female friends went on vacation. One of the friends didn't come back.
Kelly Robinson.
There you go. And what I'm going to tell people, my children, is choose your friends wisely. I don't care if they're white, black, polka dot, or whatever. Pick the people that you can rely on and trust, but don't fully trust. But you just got to pick your crowd. My mother says birds of a feather flock together. Mm-hmm. So if you pick bad people to flock with, then you're probably going to get in some kind of trouble. I don't know what these young guys were doing, but I don't know if it was racial or not. But what I am going to say, he didn't pick good friends. Neither did that Black woman who didn't come back with her 3 Black friends showing up without her.
Well, you remember Shanquilla Robinson? That just happened a few years ago here in North Carolina. She was from just up the road, and she went on she went to Mexico with them, and they beat her. She was dead. She came back, and it was a mess. They're still on the. None of those people got convicted or anything. So you do have to agree with picking out who you're going to associate yourself with. But you know what, Gary, I gotta say this tongue in cheek. You're safe with us. We got you. We got you, Gary. We got you. You feel it. Feel it.
Well, he's on the other side of the country anyway, so
if we were all together in person, we got you. We got you.
Thank you. I do feel it.
Oh boy. Well,
it was so much fun, Pam. Gary, it was great talking with you. Latrice, you and I always have a good conversation.
Yeah, this is great. I am so glad I got to be a part of this.
Yeah.
I'm sorry that Les didn't make it through, but hey, I stay cool out there in Detroit, man. Stay cool.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to call Les when we get off. And Jeff, thank you so much.
Thank you for inviting me, Pam. This was all the way live. I appreciate Gwen and Latrice and Gary, and especially you for inviting me. I enjoyed the conversations.
Yeah. We feel like we can save the world. Whew, I tell you. Oh, look, Lee said Gary can come to the cookout.
Don't bring no weird potato salad with raisins, though.
I like
yeah, don't put any raisins in the potato salad, though.
I saw Black Jeopardy. I know that reference.
Gary, I have a nephew who's a star athlete. He's coming out to Oregon to play for the Ducks. Who's the Ducks?
Yes, Anaheim Ducks. Donald Duck. Maybe they're not called the.
It's in Oregon though. The team is in
Oregon. Ducks, the football team.
That tells you how sports savvy I am. Yes, it's local. It's local.
Yeah. He's coming out there. Big dude. Anthony Cartwright III. He's coming.
I can't wait.
Yeah.
I can't. I just thought I couldn't put raisins in the potato salad. I can't put raisins in anything.
No. Keep the raisins in the box. Okay. Bring them to the. We'll put it on the side. If you want to add them to the potato salad, that's what you use. But don't put it in the potato
There's
salad.
a Black Jeopardy. It's the one with Chadwick Boseman. And I watch it. One of the clues is, oh, hell no. She put raisins.
Hell no, Karen.
No, he says it. He's like, I suspect she is a white woman who put something in the potato salad. Perhaps it is raisins. That was my first clue ever. Chadwick informed me of that. No raisins in the potato salad.
No raisins in potato salad.
So look, Lee got me straight. University of Oregon.
Ducks.
That's where my cousin is coming. He's got a full ride there, and he's a big star.
Well,
congratulations. It's a good thing. It's a good program.
Yeah, and spring in Portland cannot be beat. It is gorgeous here right now. Gorgeous.
Okay. All right. Well, anyways, guys, we're gonna wave off. I know something happened to my Facebook stream. I tell you, sometimes me and StreamYard don't get along. But anyways, good night, everyone. Thank you.
Be safe. Enjoy. Have a good week.
All right.